Okay, so this thing is just a potato. This thing's been sitting here for weeks. It's fucking rancid. I'm sitting here in a trench coat trying to find out if potato. Ugh. 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 Be gone. It's literally one of the nastiest things I've ever seen, but I have to face this fear because I created it. It's my fault. Jesus fucking Christ. Sitting here trying not to pierce the outer layer.
Oh no, dude! Don't ever.
Oh, dude, that was definitely you.
Yeah, I threw it. I told you I did.
You threw it right at my chest.
I did.
Right at my heart.
I meant to.
My strings are not attached anymore.
It's okay. Hey, mine aren't either. Don't worry. I've been.
All right, I think we got it. Never mind. Sorry to waste your time, guys. I really wanted to get some more AI stuff, but I have to take a big, fat, hot piss.
Sound off. I don't know.
So you might have to listen to Dudeman. By the way, sad news. I had to. You remember that guy? That crazy guy who said, "Listen to Dudeman." He invented that because he didn't know his name. I forget what his name was. It was a schizophrenic guy. I finally had to block him, guys, because you know what he started doing.
Go on.
Here's the thing, I always try not to block guys immediately because you invent like an enemy, basically, when you do that. So I'll give him like 3 or 4 strikes, which I did with him, definitely, most definitely. You don't get blocked by me for no reason. He started to call me. He started to fucking call me via Instagram.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, my phone goes up, like, hey, what is this tune even? I'm like, what is this tune? Oh, it's Instagram? This guy's fucking calling me. I'm like, all right, now you gotta go. Sorry. That's about enough. That's all I can take out of you.
Yeah.
There's this guy, this performative schizophrenia. He's like contacting everyone. He's like on the phone with Andy Dick. He's talking to Mersh, Milo Yiannopoulos. He's talking to me. He's like, all like the bottom of the barrel, edgy internet guys. He's trying to find an in or something. Well, now you're blocked. All right, we got it. That's too far. Wouldn't you agree? Start calling me on the phone. Like, what am I gonna do? Hang out with you? Like, all right, what's up, dude? Let's talk shop. Yeah, no thanks. All right, let's listen to Dudeman. That was my favorite contribution of his. That he thought like piss and a doob break was listen to Dude Man.
Yeah, man.
Wow. All right, we'll be right back. 5 minutes. I gotta take a piss. Don't go anywhere. See ya. Wouldn't want to be
Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube. Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube. Pissing a tube, man. Pissing a tube, man.
The Kipling poem. It's one of my favorites since I was a boy at school.
I found your writings. You were a Breitbart, and your writing was excellent, and you were talking about the ills of modern feminism. You absolutely blew up, and I would say that you are original MAGA, meaning I think of you, I think of Steve Bannon, I think of all of these people when the whole world was like, Donald Trump will never become president of the United States. You guys,
we didn't agree.
We did,
and
not.
There were
You
about
guys
7 of us when the rest of the country was afraid even to admit who they were voting for.
Yeah. And who would you say were in that original MAGA group? I think of you and Steve Bannon.
Yeah, I think Mike Cernovich would be an example.
Absolutely, Mike Cernovich.
I think that even Baked Alaska was there, up with us, front row in some of the talks. My buddy Pizza Party Ben, if people remember him from the if you were a little bit more online at that time. And really, it was a very small group. I would say Stefan Molyneux, who's just got back to Twitter, who's sort of I guess he's an online philosopher, I guess you would say.
Having answered the 84,000 customers, the birds will slow down this RP. I just have to let it go. Using somebody as an astral platform, he goes from illumination to union.
All as soon as you call in.
Not much to do with men as a whole, and I really just want to make sure that I get to issues that I've missed about men as a whole. All right, Blue Nose. I think you're up. You just need to unmute. And what have I missed? Hello, hello. All right, don't be the guy who's breaking the chain here, man. You just need to unmute. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. All right, so I'm going to have to remove him. And let's go with, we talked to that, Keaton. What's on your mind? You could just go to unmute and tell me what I got wrong.
Oh, I was actually wondering what your thoughts on semen retention are. It's not something you got.
Okay, well, what have I asked for in this
you said, what did you
conversation?
miss? You said, what did you miss?
Yeah, what did I miss
What do
about the
you
barriers? Hang on. What did I miss about the barriers that young men are facing in the world today? I'm pretty sure that semen retention is not one of them. So do you have something for the topic?
Well, the barriers are their own mind, and they're being told to go.
Okay, well, that's not going to be something. It's not something that we're going to do. Okay, I don't even know what this is. Some sort of Elon Musk named forehead on the keyboard kind of thing. But you're up.
早上好，我不会说英语，我先走了。Goodbye.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know what he was saying, but good for him. I'm sure he agreed with me completely. All right, not today, Crawler. What have you got, my friend? How can you help me help the world better by telling me what I have missed? Not today, Crawler. Not today, Zerg. What you got? Don't forget to unmute.
Yes, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much for talking to me. So I do want to add, I think that, well, hell, you might have mentioned this briefly in a way, but I think that we also have a problem of other men kind of crabs in a bucketing for men. Men don't have the same amount of counseling, Like you might have older male mentors or whatever else, but then you go on like YouTube, social media, you name it, you have red pill channels like, oh, women trash, women bad because of this, but they don't say, okay, women bad, here's what you do, or whatever else. It's just go your own way, like, oh, you're stupid for getting married. So a lot of men are just like, well, they kind of start to buy into that after a while, right? So a lot of men aren't going out in public or finding a male mentor, male role model, father figures, uncle, you name it, So that I would say other men can pull men down at times, right? What do you think about that?
I think that's an excellent point, and I don't disagree with you at all. I think, and listen, I want to be sensitive because I'm really digging into what's going wrong for young men in culture and society at the moment. So the last thing I want to do is say, well, just shake it off, because that's not a reasonable thing. And I really would never say that to anyone anyway. But what I would say is that everyone's had at some time or another in their life that depressed friend,
Oh, yeah.
Let's call him Bob, right? And Bob is just down, man, and he just can't see a way forward. And maybe he smokes some drugs, and maybe he's a little too much on the video and the prawn or whatever, right? And Bob is just, he calls you up and it's like, hey, man, I'm just hanging out. I'm really kind of down. I didn't really sleep well last night. I think I'm gaining weight. And listen, we all have our peaks and troughs. We all have a roller coaster. But there's always this concern that Bob ain't going to be lifted up, but what he's going to do is drag you down. And that's a delicate balance, right? Do you try and help him? Sure. He's your friend, you know, he helped you when you were down. But if he's just pulling you down further, what do? That's a tough thing. And I think everyone's had that kind of friend at one time or another in their life. I mean, if you haven't, you probably haven't had enough friends. And it's tough, right? Because then if you say, listen, man, you got to do something, because, you know, we've been talking about this for like 3 months and nothing has changed. You're still doing the drugs. You're still doing the video. You're still doing the prawn. You're not getting out of the house. You're not exercising. You're not getting sunlight. You're not socializing. Like, I'm concerned that I'm not able to pull you up. You're just going to pull me down. And the same thing I think is true with guys who don't date. And, you know, they say single women keep women single, right? And there's a little bit of true of that with men as well. That let's say that you kind of break out of this fear of women in a coffee shop and you go and talk to a woman in a coffee shop, you get a couple of dates, your friend might be upset about that. He might actually sort of pull you back about that, or, oh, you're such a simp, right? Like anytime I show any sort of sensitivity to or sympathy towards women, I just get endless messages, mangina, and you simp, and you cuck, and you white knight, and you boomer, and you're like, and it's like, you know, that's a dead end. Like that level of rage, like on me, right, is a dead end, and that level of rage on women is a dead end. And maybe I hope to have a conversation with Andrew Wilson. We were going back a little bit and forth, and not in any negative way. I mean, I respect the guy, and I'm a kind of a fan, but we're going to have a conversation about, he says women are to blame. And it's like, okay, but if women are to blame, then there's something about female nature that is different from male nature, which means women aren't to blame. It's like if you've got a bunch of pygmies who are shorter than Danish people, and you say, well, pygmies are shorter, you don't blame them because there's something in the genetics, because height is 100% genetic. There's something in the genetics that means it's not their fault. So you really can't get there. But I really do appreciate you bringing up that topic. And no, I'm not going to go to that person.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
This was the last thing I was going to say. A sign that there is a first principles problem that is largely being ignored by everybody, that just clicked for me like last week: circumcision. The fact that circumcision is so popular and is what that is, I think that needs to click in more people's mind. About
that is a fantastic thing to talk about. I've got an entire presentation. People can find it at fdrpodcast.com, and it's fantastic to bring that up. It's sort of embarrassing for me to forget it, but I'm really glad you brought it up. That, of course, circumcision has been around for a long time. fdrpodcast.com. You can do a search. I've got the whole truth about circumcision. It's absolutely brutal. It raises cortisol levels 6 months after birth. It is often performed without anesthetic, and it is just about the most vicious thing that you can do to hack off a third of a man's penis skin. A baby's, an infant's penis skin, the moment they get out of the womb, is absolutely barbaric and brutal, and should be relegated to the trash heap of history in the same way that we do in any civilized nation for female genital mutilation. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
So I would propose that we focus on getting people to build that desire rather than telling them they must have children.
Sorry, when did I say to people they must have children?
I'm just making that point.
Okay, so you're not talking, I thought you were talking about my argument.
No, and this is why I assume when I first came to you with this, I assumed I used the phrase, I would not use guilt. But I could be mistaken on that. This is from memory.
So to your point, though, if someone says something to someone else that produces a negative feeling, that person is responsible and should change, right? Change their messaging.
It depends on what their desired goal is. If their desired goal is to guilt the other person,
desired goal is to change people's minds for the better, right?
Yeah, I would argue
so
that.
your argument style is producing significant irritation in me, which means you're doing it wrong. Like whatever you're doing.
That's the thing. I can't necessarily control how you react.
Oh, come on, man. You can't do that. You can't say I'm responsible for other people's. You can't say that I'm. responsible for other people's negative reactions to my arguments, but that you're not responsible for my negative reaction to your argument.
I am personally trying to lower the level of negativity and instead focus on what I think will be a more effective way to get people to have children.
Right, but you're annoying me in your argumentation style. So you should change it.
How would you prefer I change it?
No, you're the expert. You know how to produce positive responses in people through your argumentation style. That's what you're teaching me, right?
I'm asking you.
Hang on. So if you're an expert on how to have a positive and pleasurable response to your arguments, then why are you so annoying?
I mean, I'm asking you why you're annoyed. It seems like it's because you feel like I'm attacking you for guilting, somehow impugning your honor, which I'm not. I do not wish to do that sort of thing.
It doesn't matter. I'm annoyed, therefore you're communicating badly. In the same way that if I guilt people or they feel guilty, I'm communicating badly. So you're completely responsible for my annoyance, just as I'm responsible for other people's guilt, according to your theory.
That's interesting because you immediately went to a negative statement about my style, which would indicate you're trying to evoke a negative response.
No, I have a negative response to your debating style.
And then
you're talking over me. You're moving the goalposts. You're shifting definitions. You're saying that I'm responsible for other people's emotional states. See, right there, you keep talking over me. So if you are an expert on having people have a positive response to your arguments, then why are you so aggressive and annoying when you argue?
I never claimed to be an expert in people having a positive response to my argument.
You're coming in here to correct me about my communication regarding having children, which means you're claiming an expertise. And if you have an expertise, okay, you cut me off one more time, I'm just going to pull you from the convo because that's really fucking annoying. Okay, you keep talking over me after I have repeatedly asked you to not do that. So why do you keep doing that?
Because you ask questions or you make statements indicating confusion as to my motivation.
No, I'm telling you how I feel and why. You can't correct me on that. If I say I'm annoyed, what are you going to say? No, you're not. I am.
No. I asked you how I can fix it, and then you called me an expert, and I should know.
Yes, you should know because you're telling me that you are very good at not guilting people, not annoying people, not having people having a negative experience if you're debating, and I'm having a negative experience if you're debating. So of course I don't believe you.
I did not claim to be an expert in that.
Okay, well, this is all just going round and round, and now you're just gaslighting. So, all right. I'm pretty sure everyone else had an annoying experience of that as well, because I can have some very positive and productive debates if you just look at what happened right before. The Hispanic fellow or the Spanish-speaking fellow sounded Spanish. We had a great conversation where he made some great points. I made some great points, very enjoyable, very positive. And then this guy comes in all hot and critical and negative and hypocritical and blah, 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 blah. So, but no, I'm sure he's a real expert on how to have people have a positive response to his argument. All right, Hassan. Detoxify the atmosphere, brother. Unmute and let me know what's on your mind. Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Peach. I always get that from the Willem Dafoe character in Finding Nemo. All right, Caston, Cotter, something like that. What's on your mind? Unmute and fill my ears. Sorry, it would help if I actually hit on the tick rather than look on your profile. Unmute. What's on your mind?
Hey, Stefan. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I wanted to ask your thoughts on compatibilism.
Yes, free will versus determinism. It was a hot topic back in the day, the origin story of free domain back when it was free domain radio. So yeah, why don't you define it for the audience and let's jawbone.
So compatibilism being that free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive.
Well, no, but you got to tell me how it works.
So for me, my idea of this model goes along with pantheism. So it's kind of like if you are the whole system, if you are if everything is God and God is objectively provable, then you created this whole system. You kind of designed it. And at the same time, it is determinism. You've made it so it can't be changed, but you designed it from the start. Does that go along with your
I mean,
understanding?
that's more of a fortune cookie than a moral or philosophical argument.
Well, do you?
I mean, if God
agree
is
with
everything and you
pantheism?
design your reality, like that's, I don't even know what to make of that. But if you could break it down in a little bit more concrete ways without all the metaphysical stuff, I'd appreciate that.
Sure, we can break it down a little further. So the first thing that we would be establishing if we're talking about God, if we're bringing God into it at all, is what is God?
Okay, no. See, we're going to do compatibilism. You can't do God at the same time. Compatibilism is a whole separate category. Compatibilism is the argument that free will and determinism are not contradictions, because although you don't know what's coming next in a movie, you don't know exactly what the person's going to do or say, it is still preordained. So we have to live like we have free will, even because we don't know what's coming. And therefore, the perspective of free will is valid in the limited information we have about what's coming, whereas it could be entirely deterministic. And I'm sure I'm butchering it to some degree, but that's my understanding of the general position. It's been a while.
So that would be the discrepancy right there. You're saying live as if you have free will. This would be, from this model that I'm talking about, I'm not going to be woo-woo about it. I'm just saying simply from that perspective, if everything that exists is God, then God is self-evident and you are part of this system. You
Okay, so
created
hang
this.
on. Are you talking about compatibilism or the universe is God? They're not the same categories of philosophy.
Well, a model that compatibilism would be possible in, your understanding of it is, you said you live as if free will exists, correct?
Well, it's that we don't know what's coming, and even if it is all deterministic, we still have to live as if we have free will, because if we rejected free will, it would be because we knew what was coming, which we can't know.
So that is not a wrong interpretation, but for the model to be true, for free will to actually not be false, it has to go a deeper level, I would argue, and it does have a level of faith to it.
No,
which
it
is why
doesn't.
it's-
No,
sure.
it doesn't. Okay, so is any individual
Okay.
atom alive?
I'm not sure. I would say no.
No, okay. I mean, because there are carbon atoms in the heart of the sun, they're definitely not alive, right? So there's no individual atom that is alive, right? Is there any individual neuron that can think?
You would say you have to have a whole bunch of neurons working together, right?
Right. Well, I'm asking you. Don't ask me what I would say. Do you accept that there's no individual, like one single neuron, cannot think? Is that fair to say?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so no individual atom is alive, yet there is such a thing as life, right? No individual neuron can think, yet there is such a thing as thinking. And what that means is that there's something called, I'm sure you've heard the term, and most people have, emergent properties. Now, emergent properties are characteristics that an aggregation of atoms has that no individual atom has. So, for instance, if the Earth was much smaller, the Moon would not orbit it. The Earth has to have it has to be a certain size in order to retain the gravitational pull on the Moon. Now, no individual atom within the Earth can hold onto the Moon's orbit, but you get enough of them together and you can keep the Moon around because you have a big enough gravity well. Does this sort of generally make sense so far?
Yes.
So no individual atom has free will any more than any individual atom has the characteristic called life. But free will and consciousness is an emergent property of an aggregation of atoms and neurons and chemicals and brain matter and so on. So the fact that no individual atom has free will does not at all disprove the idea that human consciousness does not have free will any more than the fact that no individual atom has life means that there's no such thing as living organisms. Does that make sense?
And I see what you're saying, but I almost think you have to draw the wall around consciousness when you're discussing something like this. Because we're
What
saying,
do you mean draw? The skull? Is that the wall around consciousness? I don't know what you mean.
well, no, you're saying free will and determinism. Obviously, an atom and a neuron, that wouldn't be something that would apply to. But we're talking about consciousness as a whole, which would require, all the neurons, all that goes into that.
Okay,
see what I'm saying?
I agree with you. Yeah, consciousness requires all the neurons. All right. Now, we have to understand that. Sorry, that's a begging the question. Okay, I think it's important to understand that human consciousness is treated as absolutely unique by everyone. I mean, generally, people do not argue with the television set or boomers, right? Because the television set doesn't have any input, can't listen to you, can't change its behavior, even though it's a complicated thing. People don't argue with the weather, even though the weather is an incredibly complicated thing that, has inputs and outputs. So people only and forever debate with one entity in the universe, which is the human mind, at least sane people, right? I mean, if you're arguing with a light switch, you're probably not doing very well mentally, in which case the first caller might date you. Oh, little burn, but kind of accurate. So if we treat human consciousness as absolutely unique within the universe, then we can't say that human consciousness is just like everything else in the universe, because we treat it as absolutely unique. Now, if we go to human consciousness and we say the content of your mind is incorrect and needs to be changed for the better, which we don't do with the television, right? We don't argue with the television and say you should have better programming. I mean, we would go to the people who write and produce the shows and say, well, you should have better programming, but we wouldn't say that to the TV itself. So the moment that we go to a human consciousness, and only human consciousness, that's signaling that is completely unique in the universe, and the moment we try to change the contents of that consciousness by an appeal to reason and evidence, we're saying that only human consciousness has the capacity to change its mind based on reason and evidence. We don't try and use reason with horses or rocks or clouds or anything like that. We only use reason with the human mind. Now, free will is our capacity to compare proposed actions to ideal standards. If you want to lose weight, should you eat the cheesecake? Well, if you want to lose weight, you probably shouldn't, whereas animals would generally eat the cheesecake until they get sick. If I want to be moral, I should be honest. If courage is a virtue, I should act in a manner that is in accordance with that virtue. So free will is our capacity, not the absolute, because it's free will. It's the possibility. It's our capacity to compare proposed actions to ideal standards. Now, you can't possibly argue against this. I mean, you could try, but you'll fail. And not because I'm such a great debater, but because it's logically impossible. You cannot argue against that. Because if you say to someone, I disagree with you that we have the capacity to compare proposed actions to ideal standards, then we're saying you should compare your response to my argument with its truth. So you should accept that my argument is true, and therefore you should change your behavior in what you say, because we can't tell what people think, we can only tell what they say, right? So your actions should change in accordance with an ideal standard called the truth, which I'm communicating to you. So if you're trying to change someone's mind through appeal to an ideal standard called the truth, consistency, rationality, evidence, or whatever, then you are fully accepting that human mind has the capacity to compare proposed actions to ideal standards. It cannot be argued against unless you simply don't participate in the debate at all, if that makes sense.
So I don't think that we would have a big difference between our understandings of free will. Comparing proposed actions to ideal standards, I have no problem with that. I guess what we would need to narrow down is, let's say we had a crystal ball in 10 years' time. Is that something that we control, that we have a say in? Or
sorry,
will
I don't know what
it
do you mean by a crystal ball in 10 years' time?
Well, forget the crystal ball. Let's just say we can see 10 years into the future.
But we can't see 10 years into the future.
Well, let's just
No,
say
we can't.
Let's
We
not
can't.
talk about seeing.
No, that's like saying in math. Okay, let's say that 2 and 2 make 5 and go from there. It's like, but 2 and 2 doesn't make 5. So everything we conclude from that which is impossible is false.
Then let me rephrase it to where it would be possible. So let's say 10 years into the future. Is it something that we have a say in, or is
Sorry,
it
what do you mean by? Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by 10 years into the future. That didn't clarify.
So what is 10 years into the future? This would be 2035.
Yeah, but we can't see 10 years in the future.
No, you don't have to see it.
Okay, so what are you saying?
Is it, we're just asking, is it something we have a say in, that we can actually have free will in our ability to change it, or is it concrete?
It's what concrete?
Is the world 10 years into the future concrete?
By concrete, do you mean we are unable to change it?
Let's say your actions, are you able to change it in a way? See, this comes back to if
No, finish it. Don't just finish your question. I don't give me tangents when I don't understand the central point.
No,
So what are you
I
saying?
see what you're saying, because you said you were a compatibilist, right?
Nope, I did not say that. You brought up compatibilism. I defined it. I didn't say I was. I'm an absolute free willer. Yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, so you believe in absolute free will.
So I mean, I absolutely believe in free will. I don't know what absolute free will means. I mean, I can't choose to fly unaided. So, but anyway, go ahead with your 10 years, 2035. What are we doing with 2035?
Well, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, but what it comes down to is, if you have free will, if you do have free will, then you would have had to have designed this from the start.
I don't know what you're talking about. Designed what from the start? Just
again, this goes back to pantheism, where you are the whole system.
Have you done a lot of drugs?
You said you believe in free will, right?
I'm just curious. Have you done a lot of drugs?
Do you believe in free will?
I'm just curious. You don't have to answer, but I am curious. Have you done a lot of drugs?
Sure. Let's say I've done all the drugs. Yes, I've done a lot of drugs. But
Do you think that's done any harm to your reasoning?
I don't think so.
Because you're bad at it.
You believe in free will.
No, but you're bad at reasoning, and I'm not disparaging. There's tons of things I'm bad at. I mean, I'm bad at writing operas, but I don't go in and try and write operas. So you're not good at reasoning. And
well, science is on the side of determinism and saying that you don't have control of the outcome. But you're saying that you believe in free will.
No, free will is morally true. It's not something free will is logically true. It's logically valid. It's not like I believe in it, like I just believe, it's validated. And everyone who debates with me also accepts it, because you're trying to change my mind, right?
Well, I'm not sure. This could be a computer program that I was programmed to try and change your mind.
Oh, okay. Well, then,
if you bring it to simulation theory, is that unreasonable?
Well, no. See, I'm just going to dump him because that's my programming. All right.
Okay.
No problem, man. I appreciate the
So
the
it
drug
sounds like you
I
don't
appreciate
have
the
an
drug-addled
argument.
talk.
It sounds like you don't have an argument to support.
Yeah, kids, don't do drugs. Please don't do drugs. The machinery of the brain is very easy to wreck. All right, last one. Let's end with a bang.
Enslaved us more or less to participate, and then.
Right. Think for yourself. Hit me with your.
In terms of the letting other people live in my own home,
I would say that's
moral standard, because I'm not living that way. One you brought up, but it shouldn't be part of anything. Somehow doubt it, but go ahead.
So
I enjoy this conversation. I enjoy these conversations, and I'm glad that I was even for a moment exposed to criticism, because that's really what I value. I want to know more. I want to think better. I want to be exposed to these ideas.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Interesting conversation. All right, let's do a palate cleanser. And let's see. So harsh on everyone. So I am fairly fierce. He's back.
I'm so sorry. I think I apologize.
Okay, no problem.
You can keep going.
Hang tight.
hello, Stefan. I'll give you a palate cleanser.
I somehow doubt it, but go ahead.
So I'm assuming the last guy said that his base was maximization of human happiness. I think it should be maximization of societal security.
Okay.
That's my base. So let's say I'm an atheist, and I just want to maximize societal security. I can deny that I would want to have homeless people in my house on that basis.
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by security, though.
Well, if you're saying the last guy should have homeless people in his house because his baseline was societal happiness, I would say that sounds pretty dangerous to have a bunch of homeless people in my house.
Okay, still don't know what you mean by security, though.
Security means your physical safety.
Okay, so then all that people do is they say, I'm in extreme danger if I don't get $50,000. I need to build a security fence. I'm being threatened. I'm in danger. And so they're just going to demand, for the sake of security, all this money, and you're going to have to evaluate things one by one and blah, 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 right?
But we would deny that. We would say that that's not true. You don't need $50,000 to be safe.
Okay, $5,000, $2,500, $1,000. I need to install a security system. I need to get a gun. I need to whatever. Like, they'll just say, I feel unsafe. You got to give me resources, and then what?
Well, I'm an ANCAP like yourself. I deny Keynesian economics and the ability to just produce money out of thin air like yourself. So I don't believe that we should just be creating money for these people. No.
I didn't say creating money. You could tax people and redistribute it. And like you're saying that society needs to be maximized around security, well, then women will say, listen, I feel unsafe walking around. I need money for a hot Chippendales guard to stroll around the bad neighborhoods with me, or to come with me to bars to make sure nobody roofies my drink. And it'd be great if he had abs and was 6'3".
Well, if taxation is theft, then we would say that's not safety, right? We would say that that's a violation of safety.
Okay, so then the principle would be private property rights and not anything to do with security, because security could be fake. Like, you could fake feeling insecure to get resources, right?
Well, it's private property rights and the non-aggression principle, as you know.
Okay, good. So then we're private property rights, non-aggression principle. So the whole security thing is kind of a red herring, right?
Well, that would encompass what security is.
Okay, so security, you just mean property rights.
And the non-aggression principle. So if I have a bunch of homeless people in my house, I don't feel very safe, and I'm probably going to be aggressed against.
Okay, got it. All right. So yeah, private property, non-aggression principle, that's good. But the security stuff is a bit of a red herring. So
I don't agree. I think that is what security is.
no, that's why we have the term private property rights. Whether you call that security or not, I mean, security usually has a different meaning to that. Like if you say, I want to hire security, you're hiring guards, right? That's not necessarily
maybe
enforcing private property rights. So this is different. It's a different concept. But anyway,
I don't agree. I think I think if you're hiring security, you could hire cameras. You could buy cameras. You could do a bunch of things that don't involve hiring a guard.
Okay, listen, I mean, we're talking about the same thing, just different terms. I try to be, if I'm talking about private property, I want to talk about private property because security means a bunch of things to a bunch of different people. So I just would rather stick with the terms that are more objective and commonly defined. But I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. Unless you're willing to continue talking.
No, I'll get one more person.
All right.
All right. Richard Noggin, what's on your mind, my friend?
A word is just a word. And white people have been manipulated and controlled by that word for 70 years or so now. And look what it has done to my country. Let me go.
Having answered 84,000 buses, governors can slow down this heartbeat. It just happens to let it go. Using somebody as an astral platform, he goes from illumination to union.
Call as soon as you call in.
Oh, honorable and or Peter.
And that's going to happen.
Stretching the syllables now. What's on your mind? Keaton. Keaton. Buster or who's the other famous Keaton? Oh, the Batman guy. Jeez. Michael Keaton. There we go. Or Peter Keating. I guess we're just stretching the syllables now. What's on your mind, friend?
Do you believe that rationality can be calculated like math at some point?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think that's going to happen?
What do you mean?
Do you have any,
what do you mean it's going
do you
to
have-
happen? It's been a 3,000-year project of philosophy to use reason to get to the truth.
Right. But I'm saying we could fix the annotation and make it so that it's not even a debatable thing anymore.
Well, so what do you mean by fix the annotation?
So right now, the annotation of language is the alphabet, right? If we're talking about English, would you agree with that?
English is composed of letters in the alphabet. I certainly agree with that.
Okay. So what I'm suggesting is that we could fix the annotation by removing the redundant letters and by ordering according to symbolic logic principles.
What are the redundant letters in the alphabet?
So the redundant letters are going to be S, C, Q, W. Let's see.
Are you trolling? I mean, this sounds like the old Steve Martin joke. You say, hey, if you want to commit a crime, this is an old Steve Martin bit. Like if you want to commit a crime, you put in 2 reasonable demands and 1 crazy demand, so you can always claim the insanity defense. So you say, I want $1 million, a getaway car, and I want the letter M stricken from the English language. And then he laughs and says, getaway car. That's crazy, right? So are you saying that you want particular letters struck from the English language in order to improve rationality? So I would be Teflon because you're getting rid of S, right?
Here's what I would be. I would say we combine those redundant letters into the most logical, multifaceted letter for each case. So the idea.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, drugs are bad, kid. Drugs are bad, kids. Don't do them. All right.
He seems to just be constantly like going different places and running everything.
Love to
Crane
hear
gesture
that.
emoji.
Give it a try. I mean, what can you lose by trying? Just go and you'll see God is there.
Arbitrary name sent $11. Keaton Hadima next. Newton didn't invent calculus. Leibniz knew utopia was possible. If any religion were true, wouldn't they have had the characteristic universalis himself before me? Jesus Christ would have been the most forgiving person, ergo he would forgive you for not being sure if he existed. Stop fair.
That's retarded.
Patine Roy percent $15. Candace, never mind Jews getting kicked out of countries or killing Christ or clipping coins. It's actually the Frankist skies. Wonder how many retards signed up for her Frankist book club. Great show. W ratios.
You have to feel sorry for them. You have to feel sorry for all the moms that are like, oh, Candace is going to, dude, she can't even read, dude. Oh, Candace is going to explain this book. Dude, ask her to read the menu at Arby's. Could she actually even read the entire thing? She pronounced napalm, or something like that. Did you see that? Napalm or something. She mispronounces words and misuses words on the regular. I'm not even sure she can read. And you got all these boomer women are like, Candace has a book club. It's like, brother. She can't read.
John Dave Irving sent $110. Nick, took my grandma off of life support to be able to afford the premium group chat.
Very good. Thank you for the big super chat. Very
Unknown
funny.
5 sent $20. God bless you, kid.
Thank you.
Arbitrary name sent $15.
Duplicate.
The Titus option sent $100. Good show 07.
Thank you for the big super chat.
He seems to just be constantly like going different places and running everything.
Hello. My name is Keaton Hudema, and I have solved the Liber All cipher. And this is the most famous occult text, modern occult text, let's put it that way, by Aleister Crowley. It's Aleister Crowley's Bible, if you will. You don't have to believe anything in there, but let me show you what I've done to prove that I've solved the very famous cipher in chapter 2, verse 76, which they call the Liber Al cipher. And people always try to do gematria on this. Gematria is one of the themes of the book. It is probably one of the top 3 priority themes of the book, gematria. And trying to legitimize gematria and trying to show that there is deep wisdom that could be shown. And yet Crowley says there's something wrong with English gematria and says that somebody should reorder and revalue the English alphabet and figure out what to do with it, because he doesn't know what to do. He knows it in Hebrew, so that's why all this shit has Hebrew in it. Because he's like, okay, these guys figured out how to do this, and they're all doing inside jokes with their gematria, but it's not really that interesting in English yet. Well, this cipher is the solution to that. Another verse in Liber Al Velegis instructs everyone to so that's in the book. Reorder and revalue the alphabet. So, I had been thinking about that for a while, but it was never like something I was sure was possible. Most people that look into it come to the conclusion there's probably nothing to it. Completely unrelated to it, really. I think. I wouldn't say that. I'm sure it is related. I just started thinking about what letters in English are the most redundant. The letters in English are the most that are redundant that we could do without. It turns out we only need 18 letters in the English alphabet. 18 represents all 26. Okay, so a brief explanation of why the alphabet is ordered the way it is. let's go into that. It's going to start with the number 5. It's a 5-based alphabet system, and a 5 is the most powerful rune. Let me tell you why. It's the most powerful sigil, most powerful force that we're ignoring right now. Let me tell you why. Because we use 5 to represent, at first I had it as C, because C represented K, Q, S, and itself. So we take that 5, and the reason why that sound would be first is because S starts the most letters in English by far. You can look it up. It is it's by far the letter that starts the most words. And so if we were gonna lump C and Q, C and Q and K and S together, we're already lumping C and K together all the time. We hardly ever use Q. We use S and C interchangeably all the time. So I figured out a way to make it not confusing at all if you actually see how it's used in practice. Where if you just lump it all together, it's very simple. We lump it all into the 5 to represent this system. Next, you go E, which is the most common letter in English. Doesn't start the most words, but it's the most common letter. And then this unlocks a vowel pentagram system. That is very beautiful, and it illustrates the geometry of a base 5 linguistic system. Now, besides, if this cipher didn't exist, this would be cool. But because of the existence of this cipher, it makes it prophecy. And I'll tell you why. Because I ordered that. Okay, well, let me explain the fucking alphabet first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the E starts that pentagram system, and then you go T, N, R, A, H, D, L, O, G, and G would be 20, and also G would encompass J because it's more multifaceted. We're removing all of the redundant letters, and when you remove all the redundant letters, you reveal my system. So we got rid of the J. me start from the top. So we go 5, E. 5 is valued as 1. That 5 that starts the alphabet is not valued as 5 in gematria. That's the important point that you have to understand. It's just a symbol. Just like how we use L or I and 1 interchangeably. It's just a symbol. So that 5 that starts the alphabet is actually just a letter. But then we also have the number 5, which represents the letter R. And I'll explain, I'll have illustrations and everything you need. So 5, E, T, N, R, A, H, D, L, O, G, M, P, I is 50. This unlocks another poem later on, but I is 50. I is 50. I is the thing that sees all the 5. Because in gematria, 50 and 5 are the same damn thing. 60 is B. Notice how it looks like a little B. Notice how the 30 looks like the M. Notice how, and then we go 70, V. Notice how the 70 looks like a V. Notice how the 80 is, the 80 is X. 80 is dope. Or X is dope. And X overcompasses Z because X is more multifaceted. X 90 is U. So, and then at the top of that structure you have 93 that further illuminates the proof.
And since I'm not interested in making any more videos or posts about how I've 100% cracked the cipher, I'm just going to go through it quickly. I have the converted cipher here. Here is the handwritten cipher by Aleister Crowley, or by Aiwass, I should say. Aiwass, in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. This is the line 76 that is the whole topic of this video. Does this mean anything? Even people who believe that this was written by preternatural intelligence sometimes say, no, this doesn't mean anything, as if you can say that, as if those two things line up. Yeah, it was written by an alien, but that cipher doesn't mean anything. No, I took it at face value and took it and gave it a chance to say this is real. Let's say this was written by a fucking alien. Okay, let's assume that. This is the halfway point. This is the only thing I've added here, is this line. This is what I've added. I mean, me, Keaton Hudema, has added this line here in the facsimile that they put in the back of the Book of the Law. This is the Book of the Law. They put the original handwriting in the back. I'll explain how this works very clearly. So, and actually, there is a misprint in the text version that's in the front of this book. That's why I'm showing you the original handwriting, because the misprint is this V right here, which is printed as a Y, and I get why it's controversial, but I'll show you why it's a V. I'll show you what opens up when you treat it as a V. I'll show you. And it's at least debatable. It's at least debatable. I mean, it's not even debatable. It is, yeah, you would say, if you just saw this shape, that's what I'm saying, is at least debatable. But in this instance, it's not debatable. This was intended to be a V. And I'll tell you why. This is the halfway point here. And further evidence that this is a V, Crowley doesn't even claim to have written it. Let's say he was around for the first copy of it that was printed. He says, I think it was a Y. Even he's saying a fucking alien wrote it. And here's why I can prove an alien wrote it, basically. Here's why. Here's the fucking translated version. Don't worry about these letters. We're just worried about the numbers. It turns out that these letters don't matter, right? Yeah, these letters, if it already is a number on the cipher, then disregard the letters. I was trying to see if that was another message, but I don't think it matters. We're just going numbers, then we translate the letters. So A 6, B 60, K would be, I still have it as C here, but it should be a 5. There. Five equals 1. So that should be a 5. Because when I was first making this system, I went through all kinds of different little iterations trying to figure it out. Then when I realized the 5 was the key, that's how we got here. So disregard the C. That was something I was playing with. And really, I could have figured it out faster if I used the S. But I went with the C because I like the double entendre there, C, if you know what I mean. To see, like, these letters, I'm trying to pair it with E because E has a value of 2, G has a value of 20. I don't think that matters because it's already a 2 and a 4 on here. Then we go ALGMOR. Oh, there's some letters that I got to translate on my system. 6, 9. A is 6, L is 9, G is 20, which reduces to 2, M is 30, which reduces to 3, O is 10, which reduces to 1, R is 5. You'll see some patterns that indicate that the cipher was intended to be split into 2. For instance, it's 15 characters in each half of the cipher, and it ends with 15. Then you'll see this other pattern here that stops at the halfway point. 4 and 6 is 10. Again, this is all about gematria. So any use of gematria here is absolutely makes sense. We're applying it to the Book of the Law, which is one of the big popularizers of gematria. outside of, I guess, Hebrew. So we go 4 and 6 is 10 equals 1. 3 and 8 is 11 equals 2. A and B is 12 equals 3. No one said it had to be 2 by 2 either. So I'm here to make that pattern continue. But it still stops at the halfway point. That's why it's legitimate. It doesn't have to be 2 by 2. So then we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. See, I'm not some math whiz, but I figured out a different type of math. Right? 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, 13. Then we go 9. We're reducing as we go, by the way. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's your other part. This pattern stops here. You can't even find a 16 if you go all the way down. This pattern stops at the 15. And I'll add that for it to be sufficiently logical, it would have to go all the way down to their roots. So earlier I was saying 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No. For it to apply consistently, it would have to go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So earlier it was probably a little not as technical as I should have been when I was saying 11, when I was saying 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Because it's better if we go 4, 6, 10, 1, 3, 8, 11, 2, 6, 60, 12, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 13, 4, 9, 29, 59, 14, 5, and here's why, because when you get to the 10 and the 5, if I would have reduced all the way down, then it would be 6. So 6, and I wouldn't have been able to actually make it fit. Well, yeah, I could. What was I thinking that would be a problem? Why did I say that? Because I was saying if I reduced it all the way. That's why, because it would have just been a 6. So to make it consistent, you got to reduce it down to this single digit, and you can't make it into a 7. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you get the solution of 51, which is how you solve that other poem I showed you. So, you just match each side 4, 4, 4, go slowly here so that everybody can see. Here's a 6. Here's a 6. Here's a 3. Here's a 3. Here's a 1. Here's a 1. Again, that C should be a 5. This is an older list. What else do we got? I know there's a 5. Here's a 5. Here's a 5. Now there's a 4. There must be another 4. Yeah. This is why you have to reduce down. One number that pops up so much in this that I still don't quite understand is 69. It's even called Liber 69 now, AL 69. And just throughout text, 69, I guess, is like the yin yang, or like the vector that makes this all happen or something. It's really trippy. I don't fully understand it. I'm gonna need the help of mathematicians. Here we have an 8 and an 8, right? I'm gonna need the help of a lot of people, man. This side certainly didn't have a 9. Wait, let me think. I don't wanna, because it ends up with that. Right. We got this O and this O. Here's an M30 and a T30. You reduce because you match. Yeah, so an M and a T would be equal in this system. That's why the alphabet unlocks it. And the book itself asks you to reorder and revalue the alphabet for this reason, to unlock the cipher. Right, 7, 7, 8, 9. Right. XL. Here, so we get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. We're left with 6, 6, 6, 2. And oh wait, is there another 2? Yeah. Because we are, wait. Yeah, 6, 6, 6, 2. We'll keep that G. Seven, 7, 8, 9. G, 6, 6, 6. See what I'm saying? And then those are the only ones they can't match. And then that equates to 51. Kind of ignore this. This isn't a good explanation, but this was when I was trying to explain the remainder. There's another way you can I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. But let's see if you guys can process this. This equates to this much in the first half, this much in the second half, and that comes together to equal 51.
And then you apply that to, you apply my alphabet that I just told you the entire value of to 151 of Liber Vel Legis. And that's when you'll see that here. I'll just turn it around for you here. So this is Liber 151 of Liber Vel Legis. This is a riddle that I've solved because when you apply my, look, 18, when you apply my cipher to the, or my alphabet to the cipher at the end, you get a remainder of 51, which is 2666 and then 7789. Those numbers are the remainder, and then together they equal 51. As if that's, yeah, and that's another point of proof. This is the biggest coincidence that's ever been scientifically documented. Nobody is understanding, and he knew that it would be mathematically impossible to fathom, so he created a linguistic pathway for everybody to see, which is 151. There are 4 gates to one palace. Here's one gate, which is the 1. Here's another gate, which is the 5. But that's not the whole gate. The gates are over here. It says there are 4 gates to one palace. The floor of that palace is of silver and gold. Lapis lazuli and jasper are there, in all rare scents. Jasmine and rose, and the emblems of death. Him enter in turn, or him stand on the floor, sink, but therefore, foods. Which I was kind of going back and forth on if the foods should be included, because it kind of seems optional. I lean towards not including it, honestly, but it's interesting that that's kind of optional. And then the second verse, how does it get unlocked? How does this is the main path right here. This is the floor of that place, whatever. This is like the first normie entrance, which is the normal way to read. 1, 2 is let at once the 4 gates, let of the palace, will he not and then see how that question mark was actually for this one? Will he not question mark? Warrior. If thy are means, I didn't mean to put that little dash by the thy, but if thy are means and means, dress ye all in fine apparel, eat. And that's where you can decide if you want to say, I say eat foods and drink sweet wines and wines that foam. Also, that's why I wrote trap right there. Also, take your fill and will of love as ye will, when, where, and with whom you will, but always unto me. Me equals 5 in my system. Let equals 5. So that's how we got in with those. 1, 2. And then we go goodly, rich, which means being rich and being good. That's the other entrance. That gets you into the other way. That's 1 path, 2 path, 3 path, 4. And it creates this structure out of the gematria. 1, me equals 5, let equals 5. And that's what makes 5 a letter. Do you understand? And it's illustrating the type of temples. There's 4 gates to 1 palace. Or the types of gates, I should say. It's like this one that has all the gold and all the jasper. And then you get there, and him enter and turn, or, oh, you hesitated. And then he stands on the floor, sinks, but therefore foods. I almost want to include the foods. I think I should. I don't know. It's I don't know the symbology of that. But this is all symbolic logic curriculum. And I need to get people that are actually smart on this, because I've been trying to train dummies for a while about this. Let's at once the 4 gates. Let of the palace, will he not? Question mark. See how that question mark is made to be there? Ho, warrior. And so this is like, so when he asks, so this is the 5 getting in and asking. Let at once the 4 gates. Let of the palace, will he not? Question mark. And then this is him being replied to by the temple, or by like the temple palace or whatever. Ho, warrior, if that's dress ye all in fine apparel, eat and drink sweet wines and wines that foam. Also take your will and fill of love as ye will, when, where, and with whom ye will, but always unto me. Do you see what I'm saying? This was made to be a path here. It's a piece of poetry he's made. He's a fucking poet. Me, I don't even know if he did this or if it's subconscious. That's the part that I'm like, if he knew, why wouldn't he have published that he had this superior quantum alphabet that simplifies gematria? He must not have known. And this is all just a coincidence. Be goodly rich. Silver and gold. It's pretty insane. And I'll show you guys what I have. That brings me to this other structure, which is 18 intersecting 5s. So 1 5 to represent each character of this new alphabet system. Quintabet system, I should say. And we add the angles there to represent the 5 vowels. Of course, it's a 5 base system. We have 5 vowels. It's not a stretch to say it would be a base 5 linguistic system. We have 5 vowels. And when you make those 18 intersecting 5s in symbolically logical intersecting 5 shaped areas that open up from the first pair of intersecting 5s, you get a perfect octagon. And that illustrates my 5 based life. I would call it a tree of life, but it's whatever you want it to be. It's the 5. It's the 5 system. It's the 5 magic, whatever you want to call it. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is going to be probably as close as I can get to putting it all in one place for tonight. And it's not perfect. I have a little overlap here. I don't really give a fuck. But this illustrates the cipher reduction process. Comes out to 6662 in the first half. Seven, 8, 9, 7, 8, 7, 9, whatever. I don't actually know which order. I'm pretty sure it might be this 7, 8, 7, 9. But we got that 7, 7, and that 6, 6, 6. That's just geometric proof. Sort of like geometry proof, geometric proof in this case, as to the sacredness of the text. That sums to 51. Let's see, I actually didn't notice that. 20 and 31 to 4. Okay, so there's another little, do what you will with that. The 2 and the 4 results in the remainder of 51. That can't be, these can't be going into each other. Perhaps this is I'm not even gonna speculate. This is already getting woo-woo enough. I'm not gonna speculate what these not being able to meld into each other like all of the other characters means. Maybe that's the reason for suffering for matter, who knows. But as far as my writing, I never use AI at all. But I use it a little bit just for the code here. So I can get this cool pentagram here popping up. Because I've drawn it enough. I want a nice programmed one like that. Recognize 360. Yeah, see, I told it to recognize that. It's not, I'm not sure how important it is, but it's symbolic. We got that 666 in the first, 77. They can't mix. And then we have the 89, which was, of course, in the original cipher. We had the 2 and the 4 and the 8 and the 9. Wow. That's just clicking for me. That's just clicking for me. Okay, so we had the 2 and the 4, which was that, the 2 and the 4, and then we had the 8 and the 9. Wow. The amount of synchronicities in this motherfucker is just insane. No, this is the way I got it
because it kept shutting down. But then when I said it was like for my tribal heritage, it was like, oh, okay, let me help you. But before that, I was like, nah, get lost. We're not using our data power on you. But then when I was like, it's for my unique culture, it started doing anything I asked. Yeah, this is the general structure. The 5 should be a little higher here, which I may fix later on. I don't call it a tribal alphabet. Again, that's just what I had to put in to make it happen. That's the method I used. You can see it's actually pretty good at explaining here. We're just taking note of the interesting numbers. And what we find is that this book, Liber Alva Legis, folds in on this system to a point where it's miraculous. This new system makes more sense than Kabbalah. It makes more sense than any magical system. Look, that's all it is. I got this tatted on me the night before I discovered that 151 riddle. The number 5 rewarded me, and it will reward you too. Shit, I might tattoo this one shit on my forehead. I might get $1 million the next day. Because it's really, really unbelievable. It's very simple. No one can explain Kabbalah. They all pretend to understand Kabbalah. I've spent longer, I promise you. I know you may think you have a lot of experience under your belt. I have contemplated this more than 99.999. Maybe you've contemplated it as much as me. I'm not even going to give you that, but if you want to say that, that's fine. Listen, Kabbalah makes no fucking sense. They're all just pretending it makes sense. And they're assigning these numbers to letters. There's 22 letters, right? They're assigning numbers to it like 200, 400. Let me look it up right now. Look it up for everybody right now. Hebrew letter values. Let's debunk Kabbalah right now. Letters 1 through 9, right? Anyway, they have one that equals like 40, 30. Oh, okay. Well, I have that too. That's fine. But then they go 300, 200, 400. Letters 100 through 400. I don't understand. They have 1 through 9 and they have 10 through 90, which I agree with. But why do you need 100, 200, 300, 400? That's where it actually loses a mathematical coherence and a mathematical consistency. And when you have an 18 split perfectly down the middle, let me show you why my system is more mathematically coherent than Kabbalah. Because it has, okay, let me really map this out. So Hebrew 1 through 9, 10 through 90, that would be 18, which is where they should have stopped. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 100, 200, 300, 400. Unnecessary. Unnecessary, I argue. Let me show you why. Look up high five. Ready for this? High five, baby. That's why. Because it makes a lot more sense. And we can run some numbers through it. Let's run some numbers through it. Here's what I'll do. I'll just put screenshots of some of the results. But so there it is with Kabbalah. Enochian, even Crowley said that they fucked it up and that they didn't know what I won't say they didn't know what they were doing. They might have been bad people, or they might have just been pressured by the times, more likely. Of course they weren't bad. There's no bad or good, really. But John Dee had an incentive to stop the Catholic Church, which he used Enochian as a way to do so. This is the true Enochian. What I possess, this base 5 linguistic system, is Enochian. We're talking about names for it. It's the quantum alphabet, it's the quintum alphabet, it's the 5 alphabet, it's the Liber alphabet. I've turned Liber al vel legis into libertarian val legis. It's the Moon alphabet. It's a preternatural alphabet. It's probably the Indo-European alphabet. Could probably talk to ghosts with it. No, I don't even know if I believe in ghosts. That's how skeptical I am. I know this is real though. I know this is real. Call it whatever you want. You can call it the Hoodim alphabet. Quantum alphabet is probably the best for marketing just because that's real hot right now. Quantum. And it is the base form of sound. I gotta imagine that it's the base representation, the base symbolic logic representation of English. Keep trying to flex the 5. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, baby. And just to clarify, it's not that Kabbalah is completely useless. It's useful within the context of its own system. So if these rabbis want to make little inside jokes with themselves and you know, come up with reasons why there should be 100, 200, 300, 400, then that's their prerogative. But I'm trying to make just the most minimalist
quantum alphabet, really, which turns out to be 18 letters. I'm not trying to insult Kabbalah at all, but the point is we have something that's a more free-based, magical system now, which they may not even be interested in. They close it off until you're over 40 anyway, so this is for the extremists, the people that are the wingsuit divers of the spirit realm, if you will. You'll notice on the same page where that cipher was, again, they have it misprinted as a Y here. It wouldn't even matter. I could make it so that it was a Y and it would still be valued as 70. I'm telling you it was a V. So I have no reason to lie, really. I'm pretty sure I could have valued a Y as a 70 and it would have been consistent, no. But no, it was actually a V, and that's what it is. On this same page, you'll see, that's interesting, the name of thy house, 418. Now, the name of thy house, 418. This is another huge proof. This is right underneath the cipher. It's directly connected. And this connects to Liber 418, which tells the story of the Aethers and Enochian and the angels as we understand them. And the big inside joke which is that nobody so far has been able to discover the power of the five, the most powerful rune. Yeah. So you know how we have this is one thing that I would only be able to talk about with you. You know how we have our understanding of words that sound funny, like Eziwa and Cinque, and like I'm coming up with other ones, and I'm realizing that there's like a structure to that too, and that's like encoded in it as a subset, where it's like funny sounds, like there's this one line that's funny. I don't know which ones you would find funny though. That one you wouldn't. Schmendrick. Schmendrick is funny though, right? Schmendrick. And that's like this kind of that's probably like a Yiddish word, Schmendrick, and it's like referred to as like a dick or like just a funny, like Schmendrick is one. And then there's whole sentences that are like that. And that's what I'm trying to capture, you know what I mean? That's what I've been after this whole time. It's really unfolded in such a beautiful way because nobody respects. Fuck the potato with it. That's what you gotta do, I guess. Some weird bullshit. Ancient ritual or something. The cat calling. Jesus Christ, man, with these things. Is this gonna work? It should. Come on, baby. Come on, dance with us. Meet me at the back of the... The gayest thing I've ever done right here. Smoking. Is this even gay? I don't know. Seems pretty cool to me. Like, you really gotta fuck it in there. I'm even using a little pencil to help with that. Right. Look at this part, because it's too goddamn wet in that potato pussy. Woo! This is so goddamn funny, man. Oh my god. This is so funny to me. No, it's not completely right yet. Come on, bro. I need this to connect. It's like in it's like in Castaway when he's like, the air got to it. God damn it, the air got to it. God fucking damn it, though. The air's getting to it. This is some bullshit. Fuck. I need this all the way in there, baby. Fuck that potato. Fuck that potato. So now we're even further in. I need that to be airlocked. God, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Not an insult. It means something completely different. New language, baby. Base 5. A piece of potato. Come on, baby. This damn thing light. There's air. There's somewhere here. Well, I'm thinking the straw is necessary. Should just interlock in there somehow. It should, theoretically. Come on, where's the end of that bitch? Give me that potato. Fuck yes. See how it's like a sexual satisfaction I get just from my own language? Just fucking spitting on the floor. Who cares anymore? This is the age of contradictianity. I've made the absurd sane. I've made the absurd sound. I've made nonsensical. Come on. send this to Red Bar. Oh, come on. The other way around. Could it be? So that would make it like that. You know what? I do that. That is kind of interesting. So I just go like, you know, it's like a walkie-talkie. It's kind of dope. Satan, do you copy? That's right, guys. Direct communication with Satan. Boo, 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 boo. You guys are all fucking retards. I'll explain exactly why. It's science. Jesus fucking Christ, where's the air getting to it? I gotta make this airtight somehow now.
Not merely a spoken tongue, but a symbolic language, a universal script of thought. While still in his early 20s, Leibniz wrote treatises proposing a logical alphabet, or alphabet of human thought. He believed that complex ideas could be broken down into simpler components, just as sentences are formed from words, and words from letters. These basic units of meaning, once defined, could be recombined to express any thought, any concept, any truth. He compared this process to arithmetic, where simple numerals can construct vast equations and solve enormous problems. If such a language could be created, it would revolutionize human communication. Misunderstandings would vanish. Scientific disputes could be resolved through calculation. And philosophical questions could be debated with the precision of geometry. Leibniz was not alone in such dreams. His contemporaries, including Descartes and Hobbes, also sought more rigorous foundations for human thought. But Leibniz's approach was distinct. He wanted not only a better way to express ideas, but a system that could calculate with them. In his mind, this was not just a linguistic problem, it was a mathematical one. He believed reason itself could be mechanized. If ideas could be encoded properly, then reasoning could be performed like arithmetic. This astonishing vision would remain with him for life. To realize such a goal, Leibniz immersed himself in the study of formal languages, symbols, and classification systems. He studied ancient languages, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and even alchemical symbols. He explored how different cultures encoded knowledge and how meaning was conveyed beyond spoken words. In doing so, he began building his own systems of representation, experimenting with symbols and combinations. He kept detailed notes on each attempt, refining his concepts with a careful mathematical mindset. The challenge was immense. But Leibniz believed that with enough clarity and logic, even the most complex ideas could be captured by symbols. His fascination extended beyond philosophy into engineering. He sketched designs for machines that could assist in the manipulation of symbols and ideas. One of his earliest inventions, the stepped reckoner, could perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division mechanically. This was no idle curiosity. It was a physical manifestation of his dream. If thoughts could be expressed in symbols, and symbols manipulated like numbers, then machines could one day reason. This belief foreshadowed modern computing. Centuries before the digital age, Leibniz imagined a world in which logic and machinery worked together to enhance human understanding. Yet even at this early stage, Leibniz knew he was just beginning. His universal language was still a dream, a brilliant but distant goal. He would go on to spend his life refining the principles behind it, applying them across fields as diverse as mathematics, theology, and diplomacy. But it all began in Leipzig, in the mind of a curious boy surrounded by books and questions. From those pages emerged not just a scholar, but a visionary, a thinker who dared to believe that language could unlock the universe itself. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz was not satisfied with knowledge that was fragmented or compartmentalized. To him, truth was a single tapestry, woven from many threads: mathematics, philosophy, theology, and metaphysics. As a young scholar, he pursued these fields simultaneously, searching for the deep structures that unified them all. He was convinced that the language of mathematics held more than numerical truths. It offered a glimpse into the architecture of reality itself. In his eyes, God had created the universe according to a rational plan. Therefore, to understand the divine mind was to uncover the logical patterns embedded in the cosmos. Mathematics, then, was not merely a tool for calculation, it was a sacred language of order. And metaphysics, the study of being and existence, was its philosophical twin. Leibniz saw no contradiction in applying rigorous logic to the most abstract spiritual questions. He believed that through reason alone, one could prove the existence of God, the necessity of creation, and the perfection of the universe. To this end, he began developing ideas that would later become central to his thought: the concept of monads, the principle of sufficient reason, and pre-established harmony. But these grand metaphysical visions were always intertwined with the precision of mathematics. In his early 20s, Leibniz wrote treatises that attempted to formalize logic using symbolic methods. One of his most remarkable ideas was the Characteristica Universalis, a universal symbolic language that could express all human reasoning. He imagined a world in which complex philosophical arguments could be translated into symbols and then solved like algebraic equations. In such a system, disagreement would not
We're almost there. I can really feel it. The 5's about to overcome the potato. Will be. I mean, ideally, you'd probably eat every piece of raw potato magically. But then again, there's going to be sort of a tablature engraved on this. It's going to be like sort of like one of those videos where you see like the styrofoam, or you see the they use like the ramen noodles to seal stuff up. It's gonna be kind of like that, but like actually with I'm gonna teach you how to magically consecrate objects. Which objects I think are interesting. I mean, this has already been a thing for a long time, but for instance, the potato symbology there is, hey, potato, potato. I have my language, you have yours. And I'm actually better, but I would say potato, potato, potato. You know what? Potato, potato. It actually is both. And that's the whole idea, is that the language opens up. You can kind of choose which vowels in the cases of Y, and you have to watch the other video to understand. I'll put that in the description to understand the current language for it is Kabbalah, but we're getting rid of that term. We're getting rid of a lot of terms. Practitioner is gone. Occult is gone because it's no longer hidden. It's out in plain view for all to see. As I'm about to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. So even that. So I guess now it's called woke. UO5. UO5, baby. UO5. You owe him. You can call him a him, you can call him a her. I don't know. I feel like 5 is more the masculine energy, the female is more the one. No, that's backwards, isn't it? Is it? Or are they both the same, basically? Are they both male and female? I think they're both androgynous. Is this fucking potato done yet? How many people have smoked out of a goddamn potato that they really care about and really took the time to think about? How many? Ever? What you don't understand is that it actually gives me a form of power of sort of a universal copyright system that exists. Whether that kind of gets ingrained in my soul, you understand, that I discovered this potato connection, among other things. This potato connection is a weak sauce compared to everything else, but this is still symbolically dope, especially if I can get this nigga to light.
Logic.
Are you done with Hollywood because of
No,
this
I
specific
mean, I'm
reason?
still,
or-
I'm still working. I still, you know, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the Chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do.
Are you done?
And that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do.
Are you done with Hollywood because of
No,
this
I
specific
mean, I'm
reason?
still.
The process is as follows. We have our whatchamacallit, our, said it earlier, we have our walkie-talkie to Satan, right here. This is the Kabbalah of it. There's a simple, symbolic logic lesson that can be learned from the potato. This is not a, this is a rudimentary idea of that. But there is a symbolically perfect way to cut this potato and to funnel it into a pipe. And the other thing, which is so incredible, dude, so fucking incredible. I'm excited to listen to Nick Fuentes right now. Hopefully he's on board with this, man. That Catholicism bullshit is just mind rot, and it makes people so afraid to die. And then they think that this is the only cure to that fear. No, why would nonsense be the cure to your existential fear? That's fucking lunacy. So look how perfectly, here, I'll even take it out to demonstrate. Well, I can do it this way easier. Look how perfectly it slides into this bitch. You see this? It's like I just found these two random things. I just keep finding things that fit. It's a snug, I don't know how snug it looks, but it's actually perfectly airtight with the glass pipe and then this plastic straw. So we have the alchemy of the glass and the plastic, which are very similar, and with they're similarly enigmatic as well. Then we combine that with one of the easiest, most simple to carve food sources. Put a 5 on and you can talk to Satan. Here's how it works. Yeah, so you guys can just keep being pussies or learn math and learn language and stop being dumb, I guess. We can just keep being pussies. No, you can't. I'm not going to allow it. We're going to save the world using my 18-letter alphabet. 50 ipsissimi that are going to be assisting me. I'm basically channeling my literature through them. They will be the standard bearers of my language that I've chosen and that I control. This is the Philosopher's Stone. You meld all the elements of language down into this structure. This is the structure behind all systems of symbolic logic. Forget the potato thing for now, because that's entirely separate. We're connecting like 6 different, not 6, it's probably going to be exactly 5, obviously. But like in Liber Chinook, where Crowley explains the system of Enochian, they had like these, I mean, I know exactly what it is, but I'm trying to think of the most technical new language to be speaking about this, because I'm reinventing everything as I fucking go. The whole realm of language has been abandoned, and literature, specific, like writing, I write 10 hours per day. This is all I'm gonna do till I die, and it's. I've discovered that the more I just do what I want, the luckier I get. So there's a formula for hope there. Literally, the more you do what you want, the more you get what you want. To the extent that now, since I've mapped all this out, I think I could just go make money with this now. I think I could just go to a casino and just start kind of basing this symbol set off of things, and things might open up. That's how crazy it's gotten. I know it's annoying. I know it sucks to hear about for the first time, like math when it's all that gibberish and you don't get it. And you're like, man, this is stupid. And then how does this apply to life? Remember we used to always say that? But the teachers were right. It applied in its own way. And this applies in a more direct way that's just simple, a simple process of arithmetic.
anything.
Love to
Frame
hear
gesture
that.
emoji.
Give it a try. I mean, what can you lose by trying? Just go and you'll see God is there.
Arbitrary name sent $11. Keaton Hadima next. Newton didn't invent calculus. Leibniz knew utopia was possible. If any religion were true, wouldn't they have had the characteristic a universalist himself before me? Jesus Christ would have been the most forgiving person, ergo he would forgive you for not being sure if he existed. Stop fair.
That's retarded.
15%
That's retarded.
15%.
Love to
Frame
hear
gesture
that.
emoji.
Give it a try. I mean, what can you lose by trying? Just go and you'll see God is there.
Arbitrary name sent $11. Keaton Hadima next. Newton didn't invent calculus. Leibniz knew utopia was possible. If any religion were true, wouldn't they have had the characteristic a universalist himself before me? Jesus Christ would have been the most forgiving person, ergo he would forgive you for not being sure if he existed. Stop fair.